Hello there, it's Malice again, and as you can see I kept my promise in last video. This is BowlinJabs gameplay. I want to get that out of the way. And I watched this take place. I was literally sitting right behind him as he was getting this gameplay, and I want you to take this score in right now. His team does not have a single kill. And I'm not going to go into whether it's because they're terrible, but one thing is for certain, the enemy team is exceptional. They are exceptional players, and he is going in solo to a game that looks pretty hopeless. His team is down 0-2, and really, the only possible outcome, it would seem, is that they're gonna lose. There's just no coming back from this. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure I would put much hope into it if I was going into this game. But the reason I find this gameplay so impressive, and probably more impressive than the things I've seen on YouTube already, and at times I'm gonna sound arrogant during this video, but stick with me, and I hope you'll understand where I'm coming from. I find this gameplay more impressive than a lot of the things that come out of J Nasty. I find it more impressive than a lot of the things that come out of Dying Soldier or some of the top YouTubers, and the reason is not just the enemy and their skill, not just the routes and decisions he takes, but how he brought this back from seemingly impossible odds. I mean, the enemy team may look silly right now. They're running at him with assault shields and shock charges and grenades, but you have to remember, you only get one life per round. And a lot of decision making has to go into this. If you're a pub stomper, you're probably not going to play this kind of game type. So really, if you want to be successful at this, it really relies on individual skill and the ability to work with your team. And that doesn't take away from the fact that the decisions he made in this were exceptional. It's just that a lot of elements help make this possible. BowlinJabs, or Jabs, Mr. Afternoon, is a good buddy of mine, and even though we both agree on that I'm a better player than he is, that we both agreed on it, I know it sounds arrogant, but it's the truth. As far as accuracy, maybe he doesn't compare to me. As far as like other game types, but in circumstances like this, I would have to say he is better than me, because search and destroy, not my game type. Quick scoping, he is much better than me at quick scoping. And another thing that kind of takes away from me is when it comes to assault rifles, SMGs, I didn't learn off of aim assist, so a lot of the times I'm playing without it, unless I'm running with like a shotgun, which aim assist helps a lot with that, and sniper rifles, which basically rely almost 100% on aim assist. But what I'm trying to get to here is, yeah, I may be a better player, but I'm hesitant in saying so. I don't just come out and say I'm better than other people. But the truth is, I would have to say, I don't think I could have pulled this off. And I say this confidently because the decisions that he made in this game, man, it was literally all up to him. His team literally gave him no support. He tried to plant this. I don't know what his teammates doing right now. He just kind of let him die. This is the only death he gets in this gameplay, and I still find it impressive. Nonetheless, round loss 1-3 at this moment. He's going 7-1, and yeah, spoiler alert, he does end up on top. He ends up beating the other team. However, the reason I chose this gameplay is because I feel like it best represents him as a player. Out of everything I've seen from him, like the high scoring gameplays, the high kill gameplays, I feel like this represents him the best. And so everything I've said so far has led me to this topic that I've been wanting to discuss. And I'm going to reveal it because it's the truth, and I know it's going to be disagreed upon, but here it is anyways. There's not a whole lot that separates this player and me as a player. And even though a lot of you see me as a great player, honestly, there's not a lot that separates me from just the plain good players. There's not a lot that separates the great players from the good players. In fact, there's very few difference in terms of stats. The point I'm trying to make here is that small variables make the player. Very small variables. Like, for instance, in my opinion, I'm sure you'll agree with this, average accuracy is probably around 15-16%. And that's pretty good. All right, that's I want to say that's about average. Now, 19%. When you get into the 19% range, then you start to see the 2 KD people, the 2.5 KD people come out. And then when you see the 20, 21, 22, that's when you see the 3 KD people arrive. And the difference between 16 and 22 is only 6%. Only 6 out of 100 bullets more than, say, an average player. That's the difference between me and an average player. 6 out of 100 bullets. And what you can gather from this is that it is the small variables that make the person. It's not the big variables. You can look at all these pub stompers all you want. But what you're going to find is in these gameplays, they're just facing random, people who don't really care. And that's why I'm going to turn around and say KD does not reflect 100% whether you're a good player or a bad player. Because a good KD and a bad win-loss can suggest that you're just a quitter, that you get a kill, or let's say you get 5 kills in a row, but if you die twice, you leave, which is a loss, but you still end up with a decent KD at 2.5. So KD does not 100% reflect skill. And so far I've covered KD and accuracy and how they correlate. But what really separates players is their willingness to work with the team. And if you've ever wondered if you're a good player, ask yourself this. If your team's down and the enemy team is pushing on the objectives really hard, would you be willing to hop on that objective to try to capture that win for your team? Would you do it? And in my personal opinion, what makes a good player is all about your willingness to win. How far you will go to win and help the team in order to get that objective. It's attitude, in my opinion. Most of what makes a good player is completely attitude. KD, in my opinion, is a horrible reflection, a horrible determinant of what a good player is. That isn't to say, however, that slayers, people who strictly kill base, that's what they do, that's their goal. That's not to say that they aren't good players, because some of the slayers you see are the best players out there. And that's why, in my opinion, it's hard to label players as good or bad. But I would have to say the easiest way to figure out whether you're good or bad is the attitude they have towards your team and the enemy team, and say how often you contribute. Do you carry your weight? Do you have a role, and do you follow that role? Do you deviate it by trolling? Because you can't really label a troll as a good player if that's all they do. So that's why I have such high respect for Jordan, because he is the player that I've been talking about in this video. He's the kind of player that you root for, that you want to see do well, and every time I watch him, I'm probably more excited for his gameplays than my own gameplays. He is the type of player that sacrifices himself for the objective, and that's why I think you'll like him so much. I hope you got something out of this video. A lot of it was just me going on about what I felt was a good player and what wasn't a good player. But Jordan, Jabs, Mr. Afternoon, whatever you want to call him, is a great player, and he's a great friend of mine. I hope you enjoyed this commentary. Leave your thoughts. I want to hear them. Peace out. Christ be with you. Until next time.